Potholes and bad roads. We certainly have more than our fair share in this part of the country. These dastardly dents in the roadway can do a number on your car.
Sparks fly off from underneath people's cars, and I've seen a piece of a vehicle get left right there.
We could have picked from a plethora of jacked up roads across the area, but we chose to focus on Columbia Street first for one simple reason. This street leads right into what some consider the crown jewel of Shreveport higher education, Centenary College.
It's terrible. It's terrible. You go 1 mile an hour when you go through that. Or actually, you try to find a different way to get here.
So how long has Columbia Street looked like this? Well, if you look down right here, you'll see grass actually growing up through the asphalt. That tells you it's been a long time. In fact, I talked to a lady over here on the corner. She says this street has been torn up for 5, 7, maybe 10 years. But Columbia is far from the only street that needs considerable work around here. Take a look at these trouble spots spread out across Shreveport. Not a pretty sight, is it? And neither is your car repair bill when you have to take it to the shop.
We just see cars that won't hold an alignment well. We see tire damage quite often. We see strut and shock damage, and suspension parts worn and broke. I could show you a car this morning probably in the 50 or 60,000 mile range, and it already has a strut mount broke in it. So I would say that's probably a direct relationship to these roads that are in Louisiana.
It's real hard on the car.
You know, I'd like to see if keep vehicles from getting torn up.
So if you think about it, Louisiana residents actually pay taxes ×2 when it comes to the roads. One to your local and state government to try and keep the roads in decent shape, and one to your local car repair shop to keep your vehicle on those roads.
Watch this strut mount right here. See that shock tower? That's the top of the strut right there. Watch how see how it's moving.
Oh yeah.
This rubber mount is actually broken. But I'd call that kind of thing a result of these potholes and things like that. I really would.
TW Star, KTBS 3 News. We chronicled for you on Wednesday the mess of pitted pavement here on Columbia and Wheeler Streets in Shreveport.
All of this right in here, it's cracking and falling apart.
After talking to several residents in the area, I decided to call District B City Councilman Jeff Everson to see what could be done. That call produced some good news for the people who travel this road on a regular basis. After years of neglect, these streets finally will be fixed this summer as part of the asphalt overlay program. I obtained a list of trouble spots that will get some much needed attention from this almost $1 million project. They're in all sectors and districts of the city and include Christopher Street, Gilbert Drive, Jody Lane, Doris Street, and Santa Monica Drive.
The projects probably should start I would imagine at the latest probably around August the 1st, and should be completed no later than the end of September.
Of course, this is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to fixing the roads of Shreveport. Along with the asphalt overlay program, there's a bond program, a concrete joints and panel replacement program, and arterial streets program. All of these combined is about $18 million worth of work. Sounds like a lot of money, right? Not even a drop in the bucket when it comes to getting these streets up to par.
Right now the city has at least somewhere between, I know, over $400 million in backlog in street repairs that we need to make right now.
Did you catch that? The city has over $400 million in backlog street repairs that needs to be done right now. I don't know of a city anywhere that has an extra $400 million laying around. So what can you do to try and avoid a scene like this on your street for 5 or 10 years? Well, one thing you can do is be a squeaky wheel.
We have so many streets that need repair, and the list could go on and on and on. We work very closely with the council in determining which ones we actually will go ahead and overlay. We try to riot the streets ourselves. We take a look at them. When we receive complaints from citizens about streets, we go out and take a look at those.
So being vocal is always a good idea, but in 2014, there's a new system that's being implemented. It cost taxpayers about $500,000. It's called the Pavement Management System, and local lawmakers believe it will help us target where to spend our limited street repair money.
We basically ride all the streets, and we take a look at the streets. We use equipment, special equipment to measure some of it. Some of it is extrapolated from that. But what we end up with is a condition rating for every street in the city of Shreveport. So it helps us be a lot smarter about how we apply and what types of repairs we make to our streets right now.
TW Star, KTBS 3 News. Recently, we did a story on bad roads in Shreveport. Apparently, we touched a nerve because we got a dump truck full of responses from you, our viewers. Jeannie says, check on Jefferson Page Road. If my tires blow out, will the city pay for it? Emmett says, we have bent 4 factory rims on Crabapple Drive between Kingston and Mansfield Road. Brad wants us to look at Juella, Mansfield, and Linwood roads. Dar says Buncombe, Woolworth, Pines. The list goes on for miles. Literally, ugh. Brandy says we should check out Mark Street over by the Louisiana Association for the Blind. So we did. This is Mark Street, situated right between 2 buildings for the Louisiana Association for the Blind. Over here on this side of the street is the headquarters for the Louisiana Association for the Blind. Back over here is the division of the association. This is called Ability Printing.
The big frustration is that this street has been in similar condition, to my knowledge, for almost 20 years now. We had a sewer main break. This has been like this for at least 5 months. They came in and fixed the sewer main. We have a hole here. You can see the huge holes in the street. And yes, these conditions are all over town, but what makes this so critical is that we have blind people crossing this street all day, every day, through the door here and coming across to gain access to our corporate offices in the Ability Print building next door.
It's not safe. It really is not safe. With the potholes and all of that, trying to guide your cane, it's actually a hazard because you can, miss the holes and, accidentally fall in them.
Mark Street does lead to some industrial businesses back behind the Louisiana Association for the Blind buildings. But is this acceptable in Shreveport, Louisiana?
My concern is that someone's going to get seriously hurt, stepping in a hole, falling. I mean, I'm sighted. This is a danger to me, but especially to someone who is not sighted and traveling with a cane. This could be a serious injury.
From working 3 years here, we're kind of familiar with where the holes are and how to navigate around them, but we have new employees that come in each, month to month that don't know where the holes are to try to avoid them.
We've repeatedly tried to get this repaired. The last request we sent was to City Councilman Jeff Everson and to Mayor Glover at the same time, and as I recall, that was back in March, that we sent photographs of the condition of the street and requested that they at least send someone to look at it to repair this. No response whatsoever from anyone. And that gets to be even more frustrating when you feel like your requests are not even being acknowledged.
TW Star, KTBS 3 News. The road to the mayor's office this fall could be a bumpy ride. Too many Shreveport streets are filled with potholes and crumbling asphalt.
Sparks fly off from underneath people's cars, and I've seen a piece of a vehicle get left right there.
You go 1 mile an hour when you go through that. Or actually, you try to find a different way to get here.
For the past month, KTBS has explored this problem, how it's a headache for motorists and those who literally are out each and every day trying to sell our community to new residents and business prospects.
When you go around town, we quite frankly probably have some of the worst roads in the South, maybe in the country.
But as we approach the November election for a new mayor, are any of the three candidates talking about a basic City Hall responsibility, decent streets?
Of course, they're not the best roads as opposed to other cities and states.
Generally, yes. The roads in most areas really need some attention.
Former school superintendent Ollie Tyler and current state representative Patrick Williams are two of three announced candidates to replace Cedric Glover, who is term limited. They at least would comment on the issue. A third candidate, State Rep Roy Burrell, declined to sit down with KTBS, as did a fourth potential candidate, former Mayor Keith Hightower, who has run opinion polls on his possible candidacy. Hightower simply said it isn't something he wants to discuss right now. Unfortunately for the voter looking for any sort of concrete or asphalt plan for fixing city streets, well, that's also unavailable for inspection, even from those willing to sit down with KTBS. I asked each candidate what plans specifically they have to improve the roads in the city of Shreveport.
We have to understand where our dollars are going now first. We can't come in and say, I'm going to do this until we know what we have the dollars to actually and allocate those to the best possible use.
I'd like to take a look at what has been done, what's on the books, what funding we have available, how we can secure more funding, to see how we can address that issue. That is a serious issue. I won't make promises about things that I don't have all the facts about yet, but I do know that that issue has to be addressed.
Williams does stress his architectural and engineering background. Tyler said part of her job as Caddo Parish superintendent was overseeing construction needs at more than 70 schools. But beyond that, they have no specifics on a system that should be spending close to $13 million each year just to maintain the roads, but is only spending about $5 million each year on our streets.
Then I need to get the data on what's available in terms of funding, where the funding streams are, how we can work together with other people to make sure we address those issues.
We have to put in place a maintenance plan, period. I think it's a way of how to really take care of our roads. That's all citizens want. I mean, literally, they want safe streets, clean roads, and good roads that they can drive on.
TW Star, KTBS 3 News. We've done a lot of stories over the past year on the crumbling streets of Shreveport. We've showed you the potholes, the places where residents have been driving on gravel and dirt for decades, and we definitely heard from the citizens of Shreveport on the topic.
No work. They'll come down every now and then and do a little, put some hot mix in a hole, and you never see them no more. I just think we need to get a new mayor. This one ain't did nothing for us.
They're all generally bad streets around here. They've needed to be fixed for a long time and nobody's done anything about it.
We also heard from Public Works Director Stan Harris.
Needs to build relationships to get people to follow them.
9 times since 2011, Mayor Glover and the council could not come to an agreement on spending more money on the streets, so proposal after proposal was stuck in Government Plaza. So what actually got done in 2014 to improve the streets of Shreveport? These figures come from Public Works Director Stan Harris. About $3.5 million was spent working on streets like Juella and Midway, Holcomb, Carroll, Lakeshore, Stoner, Grover, and the Murphy Street overpass. Another $10.7 million was spent on asphalt overlays, street reconstruction, and panel replacements and repairs. So overall, well under $15 million in total was spent for 2014 on the streets of Shreveport, well under the hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars Mr. Harris told us needs to be spent just to get us up to a decent maintenance level in the city. The bad condition of the roads was a hot topic in the recent mayoral election. All the candidates agreed fixing the streets should be a top priority, but campaigning is one thing, governing is something very different. We have a new mayor starting in 2015. Can she and the council come to an agreement? Will we actually see some progress on our streets in the future? TW Star, KTBS 3 News.